We have brought lyrium and begun preparations for the ritual. We can start any time. It truly depends on the manner of demon. It sounds like a spirit of greed and desire, one of the more powerful in the hierarchy. It will likely engage you in dialogue and tempt you with an offer. Avoid it. Making deals with demons never turns out well. Yes. We haven't sufficient lyrium at present to send more than one mage into the Fade. It only works because the child gave himself to the demon willingly. If the demon takes over the host forcibly, we must slay the abomination. We have only enough lyrium for one attempt. I hope you succeed. Such a young lad deserves better than execution.
I'm glad we decided to take this route. This is really the best option.
Very well. Who will go into the Fade? Then let us begin forthwith.
You, Connor? I can hear you! I'm coming!
Father! Where are you?
Is anyone out there? Hello! Blessed art thou who exists in the sight of the Maker.
I don't understand. It's so cold. I want to go home.
You there? Have you seen my son? I can hear him, but I cannot find him. This blasted fog has me turning in circles.
This is the Fade. Your kind cannot navigate it any more than you could navigate a dream.
I don't understand. Where is my Connor?
I will find him for you, since I foolishly gave my word that I would. Leave me to it.
No. No, you're trying to lead me astray. I do not believe you. Connor! Connor, where are you? Curse this blasted darkness! Why can I see nothing?
Who are you? Are you the one that made Father ill? Tell me now.
Shoo! Run along and play. Or whatever.
No! You're here to hurt Father. I know it. I won't let you. You're the one making Father sick! I'll help him! You can't stop me! Get out of here! You have to get out! Why do you keep hurting me? Why are you trying to stop me?
Enough of these games. Give me what I want.
Trespasser! I will drive you out!
I shall do it.
I'll stop you! I will! Please forgive me.
Father wanders, seeking me, trapped within my web. All is as it should be. Why must you interfere?
Why do you speak through illusions? Come, let us converse.
No. It is time for you to go now. Do not persist, or things will go very badly for you.
Very well. So be it.
Very well. No more illusions. Now we meet face to face. You see my true form, and stand in my domain. It is here I am most powerful. And yet I have no wish to engage your power, nor should you be so eager to engage mine. Perhaps we should converse instead?
Do you take me for a fool? I know better than to bargain with your kind.
Alas, that is sad. Very well then. If you wish a battle, you will have it. Let us see if your power matches your boldness, creature.
As you wish. We are victorious again.
So it is over. Connor is his old self. He does not seem to remember anything, which is a blessing. I suppose we will need to send him to the Circle of Magi's tower for training, once the war is over. It's so odd to think of the boy as a mage, of all things. Eamon has much to mourn and rebuild should he recover. But at least he can be thankful that both his son and wife are safe.
I owe you my deepest thanks. I can scarcely believe Connor is the boy he once was.
There is still the matter of Jowan. His poisoning Eamon began this whole mess, yet he lives. I must decide what becomes of him. We will hold him for Eamon to decide his fate. If he doesn't recover, Jowan's fate is sealed. What do you think? You spoke with him, have you not? You know what he has done better than I do, even. I would not trust him, but I would not presume to tell my brother what to do.
Released? Are you mad? Why would you do such a thing?
I agree with Isolde. He's a Maleficar. We cannot simply unleash him on the land and ignore his crimes. Perhaps you are correct. But that is Eamon's decision, not mine. I'm sorry. Jowan stays in the dungeon for now. But our task is not done yet. Whatever the demon did to my brother, it seems to have spared his life, but he remains comatose. We cannot wake him.
The urn of sacred ashes will save Eamon.
It has been tried, and we will continue trying. Perhaps the demon's absence will make a difference. However, the relic is another option.
My husband funded the research of a scholar in Deneran. Brother Genetivi. He has been studying the inscriptions on Andraste's birth rock. When Aemon fell ill, I sent the knights to speak to Genetivi. I hoped that he had finally discovered the location of the Urn of Sacred Ashes itself. They were unable to locate Genetivi. In desperation, I sent more knights in search of the brother, or some clue of the urn's location.
No one else can. Even if I wished to do it myself, I cannot abandon Redcliffe to its own devices. Perhaps you could seek out the brother's home in Denerim and see if any clues remain on his whereabouts. It is the only place to begin the search, I think. I must go to the hall and begin rebuilding. I wish you luck, and may the Maker go with you.
You're the one who saved me. I remember having a bad dream. There was a very scary lady, but she went away. I hope Father gets better soon. He will, won't he?
Word went out to retrieve the Arl's men even more quickly. This battle is but one victory. The battle with the Darkspawn yet remains.
It is good you resolved this demon business. Now we must either revive the Arl or allow Bantegan to take his place.
You return. Might you have news? Unchanged, I'm afraid. We've tried more magical healing, but nothing works. As time passes, I become more and more convinced the urn might be our only hope. Yes, but they are returning slowly. No doubt the war's progress, as well as the Darkspawns, hinders many of them. Then I must resume my duties. The civil war continues, and Loghain is no doubt angered Redcliffe has not been disabled. Good luck, my lady. You are a great and noble woman. I hope it continues to go well, for all our sakes.
Now that we're back at the camp, I want to talk about what happened at Redcliffe. I just wanted to thank you. You went out of your way to save the Arl's family, and you did it. Even though it would have been easier not to. There's been so much death and destruction. It makes me feel good that at least we were able to save something. No matter how small. I owed the Arl that much. Good. Now that the warm, fuzzy part of the day is over with, we can get back to the ritual dismemberments. Oh wait, it's not Tuesday, is it? Here, look at this. Do you know what this is? Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to trick you. Is it working? Oh, I just about had you, didn't I? Nefarious, even. I picked it in Lothering. I remember thinking, how could something so beautiful exist in a place with so much despair and ugliness? I probably should have left it alone, but I couldn't. The Darkspawn would come and their taint would just destroy it. So I've had it ever since. I thought that I might give it to you, actually. In a lot of ways, I think the same thing when I look at you. I'm glad you like it. I was just thinking, here I am doing all this complaining, and you haven't exactly been having a good time of it yourself. You've had none of the good experience of being a Grey Warden since your joining. Not a word of thanks or congratulations. It's all been death and fighting and tragedy. I thought maybe I could say something. Tell you what a rare and wonderful thing you are to find amidst all this darkness. You won't land me that easily, woman. I know I'm quite the prize, after all. No need to start crying on me or anything. I guess it was, just a stupid impulse. I don't know. Was it the wrong one? I'm glad you like it. Now, if we could move right on past this awkward, embarrassing stage and get right to the steamy bits, I'd appreciate it. Oh? You're lost then. All the ladies go on and on about how suave I am. I don't know how you can resist me like you do. Oh, look, is that a cloud? I expect rain.
Yes? Well, here I am. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Haever, Conchobar, and he took her for his wife. Conchobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conchobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conchobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conchobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conchobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Haever, they were captured by Conchobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conchobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conchobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conchobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. I have thought on this too. Did he withdraw his sight from her at that moment? Where were all the powers he bestowed upon her? This question has come to me many times, and I have no answer. Perhaps there was no way for Andraste to return to the Maker but through her death. We will never know for sure.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. If you live apart from others and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome. Is there something you need? The Circle is in good hands. Irving knows what to do, and he doesn't need me underfoot. For now, I will support those that battle the Darkspawn. I do feel I left things unfinished in Ostagar. There is so much left to do, and I would be part of it. The Grey Wardens, all 2 of you, need all the help you can get. I will see this through to the bitter end. And after that, if I am still left standing, then I will return to the Circle. No, of course I don't. I'm old and unsure of what I'm doing. Actually, I'd rather be in a warm chair in the sun, being served pudding or some other easily digestible food. I know. I was just teasing. The ability to laugh at myself is something I developed too late in life. But to allay your fears, yes, I am sure this is what I want. Is there something you need? I will answer to the best of my ability. People don't become mages. They are born mages. The talent just surfaces later. But you are asking how I ended up at the Circle. I was brought there by the Templars, just like many of the other apprentices. I don't remember very much. I was very young then. I didn't have a family. I never knew my real parents. My earliest memory was of hiding in a hayloft on a farm, trying to keep warm. I was found, and the farmer's wife was kind enough not to send me away. But they had children of their own, and I was never made to feel welcome. The eldest son was the worst. He was always calling me a stray, and throwing anything he could get his hands on at me. And I don't know how it happened, but one day, he just found his hair on fire. Fortunately, there was a large trough nearby. He ran screaming, dripping head and all, to his mother. I was shut up in the barn, with a bowl of water and a crust of hard bread. The Templars arrived several mornings later. One of them ignored me, but the other was kind to me. He gave me sweets and even sat me on his shoulders once when I wanted to look over a high wall that ran along the road. I'll never forget the moment the Templars led me into the entrance hall of the tower. I had never seen anything so grand in my life. I stopped being afraid then. I knew I was home. Prison. You could see it that way. But those walls are there to keep non-mages out, as much as to keep mages in. I learned very quickly that for every apprentice in the tower, there was probably one who never even lived to see the Templars come. No child, not even a mage child, is a match for an angry mob trying to place blame for a failed crop, a hard winter, a baby born dead. Superstition and fear is what makes these people behave in this manner. It will be a good long time before that changes. Well, that's about all there is to my tale. That's how I came to the Circle. I would be lying if I said it was easy. First, there were rules, and we were constantly watched to make sure we behaved appropriately. Then there was the study of magic. We had to cast the spells just so, control the effects completely. A single word spoken incorrectly, a gesture out of sync, and lack of focus. And we needed to have perfect focus, or we would be in danger. From Fade spirits. If we were careless, they would enter our minds, and we would become abominations. Without the Circle and my mentors, I would not have been where I am today. And there was joy in life at the Circle. The joys of fellowship, in knowing that you were not alone in your struggles. In spite of everything, I was happy in the tower, and I loved it.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well, the crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training. The sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. Within the crows, I did. But it has been something the crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. I do. It is not something inherent in an assassin's skills, however, merely something complementary. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? Hmm? Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes. It's not really a matter of wanting to go back. I cannot go. At least not yet. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable? You have me there, indeed. I, for one, can make no such claim, as I never laid eyes on the woman. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most. I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home, more than anything else. Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend the little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in the store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. But I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no? True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a beautiful Grey Warden, a woman who then spared my life? I could not. Quite right you are. I see the Grey Wardens do not recruit fools. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal.
Yes. Sitting, as you observed. Thank you. Parshera, was there anything else?
Different? Different than what? Different than a statue? Different than a log? Should I talk in a monotone? Yes, Master, I exist to serve the Master. I shall kill for the Master and only for the Master. Perhaps it expected me to have a booming voice. Recite limericks. I can recite limericks, if it likes. Mostly they involve slaughtering pigeons in creative and invasive manners. I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do? Did I say it was bad? It thinks I hang on its every word, waiting for approval. I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing. Imagine the benefits. No need to eat or sleep or perform other functions. Walk underwater, crush the heads of every opponent. The possibilities are limitless. Barring the occasional 30 years or so of paralysis, there's little to compare. Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting. It doesn't have better things to do. I like to think of them as accessories. I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will. Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that, should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me. Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures, after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more. Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague. Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think. Flattery, and obvious flattery, too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me. So they simply left me. And in time, I forgot I hadn't stood there all along. In fact, at first, I found it more of a relief. For so many years, I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first, I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed, an acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring. I think I was ready to move on. Another few years and the moss would have covered my face. And then where would I have been? Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it has nothing to fear from me. Much. So I have come to realize, if that was not the case, I would have gone elsewhere by now. Doesn't knowing that make it feel good? Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again. I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them. Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some breed of flesh creature that has decided to elevate its genetic stock above its natural shortcomings? Nonsense. It can imagine my surprise, discovering such a thing was possible from a creature so soft. But there it is. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. They might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless. Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought.
Sire, I have more news. Yes. Well, It seems that the fighting has gone
Enough.
exactly as you...
I would like to know what you intend to accomplish, Father. Should we not be fighting the Darkspawn instead of each other?
The nobility should be brought into line and then the Darkspawn defeated. This is no true blight, Honora. Only Kaelin's vanity demanded it be so.
Beg pardon, sire. But blight or no, we may not have the manpower to face the Darkspawn soon.
Kaelin approached your legions for support, did he not?
Never! Marek and I drove those bastards out! Not roll out the welcome for them now!
We need help, Father. We cannot deal with this crisis alone.
Ferelden will stand on its own! I will lead it through this, Honora. You must have faith in me.
Did you kill Kaelin?
Kaelin's death was his own doing.
My men have scouted the tower. It's a mess, but the abominations are gone.
We crushed their heads. It was fun.
You were very thorough. I'm impressed. And I am thankful you arrived when you did. I shan't keep you then. Farewell.
You really killed all those abominations? I didn't think it was possible. I thought we'd all die here. I'm sure you need supplies after that, don't you?
I don't know if I have the strength to do the big battle.
The Grey Wardens saved us. Fighting the Blight is the least we can do.
True.
The Circle has always played a part in defeating the Blights. This is our chance to show that we will fight and die for our home, just like any other Ferelden.
I wish I could have gone with them. To fight.
I do wonder, is it permissible for two Grey Wardens to... Oh, what is the word I search for?
Caboodle?
Fraternize.
What's wrong with fraternizing?
It seems most undisciplined for an organization that claims it will do whatever is necessary to end the Darkspawn threat.
One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Oh no? And what if a Grey Warden was forced to choose between the Warden he loved and ending the Blight? What should his choice be?
That is a ridiculous question.
And I have my answer. Most kind of you.
Most traders aren't allowed into Orzammar,
I
so
was
they just
chipped
sort
in
of
that
gather near
fight.
the doors. There's no laws up here at all, I'm told.
Thank the Maker, my brother and his family made it out of Lothering. He said that the Darkspawn attacked it the very next day.
The Darkspawn took Lothering, did they?
I don't know. I expect so, since there was no one there to stop them.
Well, it won't be much longer until those monsters get here. There doesn't seem to be anyone fighting them now.
How are we supposed to live like this? I have buyers waiting.
May the ancestors protect us all.
My sister lives down there. I hear there's fighting in the streets.
Can I interest you in something? I've got the finest selection of previously owned armor and weaponry this side of Val Royeaux. Why pay through the nose for new equipment when you can buy it like new for much, much less? Oh, here and there. Look, that's really not important. The important thing is, it's cheap. And just as good as what you'd find at a smithy. Oh, of course. And remember, everything's covered by Farron's 24-hour lifetime guarantee.
So, Shale, when you were standing there all that time, did you sleep?
I have no need to sleep. My body does not tire or do, other flesh-related functions.
But don't you get bored? Wouldn't you want to dream at least?
I do not dream. This is what it does when it sleeps. It paws its nose and mumbles incoherently.
Yes, of course. I thought we all... Huh. You watch me?
I watch all closely when they are still at night. There is little else to do.
For hours and hours?
I count the breaths. It helps to overcome the overwhelming urge to crush their faces while they sleep.
Well, I won't be doing much of that anymore.
Oh, you wish to talk to me? Truly, it's a courtesy for one so well-armed to notice a lowly merchant. Someone has to. Trade with other races can dry up. We surfacers are Orzammar's lifeline, even if we're denied a caste. The Assembly says we've turned our back on the stone, but they still use the goods we bring. Hypocrites. Maybe it'll change by the time my children are grown. Twice a year, I'm confined to a trade stall in the Commons, but I see enough. It's very closed in. My grandfather says I've lost my stone sense. I was born topside. I don't remember having it. Best of luck to you.
I didn't get into this business to sit on my goods.
King Loghain will not suffer the delay of his appointed messenger.
Vieta, this land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
None more important than mine.
Your business will wait. Orzammar must limit outside influence until the throne is settled. No one gets in.
They hide because they are dwarves.
I would challenge any race to fare as well. Our king is dead. Endrunai Dukan returned to the Stone Knot 3 weeks ago. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
Wait, who are you to speak for Ferelden? You're no messenger to Loghain, that's for certain.
Thank the ancestors.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Trust follow, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. We prefer that outsiders not witness our infighting, but your presence will be tolerated. Fair journeys, Warden.
If there is anything complimentary to be said about these people, 'tis that they possess a remarkable facility for carving stone.
If only you had come at a less troubled time.
Now that's a thing of beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Branka, all Orzammar will know your name.
Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that! Not to me, not to anyone. Now get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
Yes, Mother.
Show some pity for a poor old man. For the love of paragons, please.
Show respect, Surfacer. You're in the Hall of Heroes, home to the best of us. Paragons, dwarves who achieve such greatness, they're considered ancestors even if they yet walk among us. If only we had one now. A unifier. A voice like that, there would be no dissension. Perhaps I don't want you to. A surfacer should not see us in this kind of disarray. Goodbye, Warden. I hope you're not needed.
May the ancestors look kindly upon you.
So tell me, was the Tower of Magi everything you thought it would be?
Abominations running rampant? Templars ready to slaughter every mage in sight? Yes, it rather met all my expectations.
You don't think you might have been better off getting your training there, instead of whatever your mother taught you?
You're right. My mother didn't nearly have as many abominations running about. That certainly would have improved my education.
I'll give you that one.
I'm so relieved.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
Do not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Idiots. I won't have fighting in the Commons, especially in front of outsiders. That son of a fool, I'll have him in the Legion. Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the Commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order. See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there. Sort this all out in a hurry. Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate. Surfacers appoint no paragons? Truly, you're lost in all that sky. They are the best of us, declared living ancestors. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. Yes, you should.
Ancestors, guard my son, for he is lost in darkness. Mothers, keep him safe, for you know what it is to mourn. I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? Although, I can't imagine your ancestors reside in the stone. My name is Vilda, widow of Turok of the Smith Caste. I pray here every day for my son, Ruck. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul. It was 5 years ago. He was only a youngster. He joined a Deep Roads excursion, the only smith to go with the warriors to repair their arms. He was so proud, but he got separated somehow. When they came home, he wasn't with them. The captains don't want to lose anyone searching for stray men. Too many were taken by Darkspawn that way. How? There is no way except to brave the deep roads yourself. Warden, so you could do it. Only wardens face the deep roads without a company packing them. Oh, thank you. The ancestors finally heed my prayers. Please, find me as soon as you return.
Maker's blessing on you, sister. Ah, it's a great pleasure to meet a fellow believer. I'm Brother Burkle of the Redcliffe Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light.
Even in the very bowels of the earth, we hear no end of this chant.
And that is something to rejoice in, good sister. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar. There is resistance. It's obvious the world wasn't created by the mortal souls who dwelt within it. Yet the dwarves of Orzammar persist in worshipping their own forefathers. The Shapered controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memory's permission to open a prayer meeting. The Shaper of Memories controls the Shapered, Orzammar's record system. Like the Chantry's historians, but more thorough. They track the births and lineage of every dwarf born in the city, every property sale, death in battle, marriage, or divorce. The Shaperette is in the prime tier of the city, near the royal estate. Does this mean you will help me then? I can see the Maker's hand on your shoulder, guiding you always. Please let me know as soon as you've heard anything.
Excuse me, do you have a moment? You look like you're not from around here. Oh, wonderful. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle? I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study. That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcast. Tell them I've already begun reading the Tevinter Imperium's Verticum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child? Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
Greetings, and welcome to Garen Garrison's luxury goods shop. Wow, there are a lot of you. And I've never seen one of those before. The things they come up with. What was I saying? Right. Yeah, I have some lovely things here. Lyrium enhanced, of course.
The deep roads are home to the Darkspawn now. Oddly, they're supposed to be safer to travel during a blight.
What's this? A human? Did we make these tunnels tall enough for humans? I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you past the front lines without Adesha's permission. And I've heard nothing of any new patrols scheduled to leave today.
Don't let the comm fool you. The Darkspawn are down there, aren't they, Commander?
Either we finally have the edge, which I doubt, or the beasts are building up numbers for the next attack.
The surface? But I thought the vermin never went up that far except
during blights. Ancestors save us if that's what's happening. Of course not. Down here, you're bound to run into giant spiders, deep stalkers, and other vermin. Ugly beasts they are. Walk on two legs, but they have the head of a worm and hunt in packs. Watch out. They're not afraid to take on a group their own size. A few outposts. Legion of the Dead, mostly, fools that they are. Some scavenger types, too. It's an independent company of soldiers. They accept no command but their own. Anyone who can bear arms can join, no matter his crimes, or sanity. They hold a funeral when they join, and swear their only goal is a glorious death. Into the deep roads? Not without a full unit of soldiers to back you, my friend. Or Adesha's permission to risk yourself. Orzammar can't afford to lose its citizens or honored guests on casual visits to the deeps. Aye, for your sake, I hope you've no reason to come here again.
So the closer you live to the surface, the higher class you are. Unless you're actually on the surface.
Grey Warden arrives in Orzammar, undoubtedly to offer assistance to Lord Harrowmont. Mine is an honorable task, and I shall drown out anyone who claims otherwise.
Thief! Who would dare take from the memories? Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shaperit. What have we been reduced to? I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dust Town. They couldn't know the value.
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I, don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research. I was looking for something about the Orton Tig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads. A Grey Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Tig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Balin and Lord Harrowmont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking. It's almost too much to hope.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories. The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you. That is an odd request, especially for one so new to our city. I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition? He seems a charitable man, but that is a thin thread on which to tie Orzammar's traditions. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more? We were a great empire once, outnumbering even humans and elves. We traded with your Tevinter Imperium, and our land stretched as far in the deep roads as theirs did above. Kal Sharok was capital then, but we lost too many battles. We lost our golems, and we lost our territory. Now the Empire is simply ruined tunnels filled with darkspawn. The Paragon Caridon, a smith of unsurpassed genius, invented the golems. For years they were our weapon against the darkspawn. One golem is worth a dozen dwarves in battle, but Caridon's Tig is far into the deep roads. When it fell, we lost his secret to creating golems. There are books about it along these walls if you would read more. Yes. We have only a few dozen left in Orzammar, and I do not recognize this one. Where did you find it? Every golem is precious to us. We'd pay a good sum for a new find.
I'd sooner jump into a pit of lava.
Unfortunate. Was there anything else? I must tell the rest of the Shaperate about this discovery. At the other side of the old empire, during the last Blight, the kings of Orzammar knew they couldn't hold everything. They sealed the deep roads, abandoning everyone still trapped in far-flung settlements. It was the only way to survive. Kal Sharok is the only other city to outlast the Blight. We only rediscovered them recently, and they still haven't forgiven us. Your presence here has been recorded in the memories. I wish I knew what significance it has.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Gavorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring? It would be hard not to notice the Grey Warden and her eclectic entourage. I hear you seek the aid of Orzammar's finest. Yes, the treaty. I've seen it in the Shaper's libraries. Now, the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. My prince is the rightful king, but a disappointing number of lords back the upstart Harriman for the throne. If you show your support for Prince Balin, he might be able to assist with your requests. You must understand, Harriman hides behind his good reputation while sending spies and assassins. Balin can't know who to trust. It's been like a knife in the heart for Balin to see so many of his father's men stand with the usurper. Would you be willing to prove that? Harriman has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harriman's deception, I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Harriman promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Oh, excuse me, two assembly members. Desher is their formal title. Harriman can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harriman gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes. That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty. Don't expect this offer to last. If my prince hears you swore allegiance to his enemy, he won't be so friendly next time. I will be here if you change your mind.
The assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
It shall be done.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the assembly, I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harriman, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight.
It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. In an ordinary time, Lord Harrowmont would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Harrowmont under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Harrowmont, you will need to prove he can trust you. That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously. And unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. It would certainly make your loyalties loud and clear. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Then I'm afraid your only choice is to wait until there's a winner. Lord Harrowmont cannot risk his life working with someone of unproven loyalties. If you change your mind, let me know. The proving is this afternoon, and Lord Harrowmont could certainly use you on his side.